Hello, dear friends. We are going to view a presentation on general systems theory. Social work, as we know, bases itself on the theories derived from different disciplines. There may be many theories to explain one and the same phenomenon. Having many theories is actually good because it really helps the practitioner or researcher to see things from different frames of references. The different theories that we are studying in this course actually try to explain or predict human behavior. There is indeed no single theory that would in fact explain all the human behaviors. Therefore, the caseworker may select the suitable theory or theories to explain the behavior of the client. Here in this presentation, we are going to see a theory that is widely used in the social work, that is general systems theory. For example, the family therapy rests on this theory. It is also called person in environment approach, the reasons for which would be explained in the following slides. General systems theory is a theoretical framework which would really help us in seeing things differently, especially when it comes to the social casework. While applying this theory to the casework, a practitioner would be able to bring in a comprehensive or holistic care of the individual. Let's see, for example, the psychoanalytic theory of Sigmund Freud looks at things from a single point of view, consciousness. On the other hand, the general systems theory, what we are going to see, looks at the matter from different angles. This is just an introduction. Now, to begin with, let us try to see the philosophy behind the theory. It simply states that man is not alone. Rather, he is part of a whole or a universe. In other words, we are all connected. There are some things that tie us, and no one is an island. The slide that we see now gives the pictures of the two masterminds behind the theory. The general systems theory has its beginning in Ludwig von Bertalanffy. The theory was developed by him in 1936 and was further developed by Ross Ashby in 1965. Ludwig von Bertalanffy was an Austrian biologist who believed that compartmentalization in science would do no benefits. He was trying to show that everything is interconnected. What is distinctive of science, according to him, is the interdependence of everything. Scientists working in different fields are actually interconnected. He was the champion for the unity of science. The theories that we see in this slide are the predecessors of the general systems theory. They all have something in common with the theory. There is ecological theory, which promotes interdependence and mutual influence. Bioeconomical perspective by Bronfenbrenner, globalization theory which describes interconnections, and the fuzzy set theory which has to do with mathematics. The theory can be simply defined as the set of elements standing in interrelation. All elements are related to one another is the basic premise of the theory. It is general because it can be applicable in many different fields. A system is a complex of interacting elements and they are open to and interact with their environments. A system is a whole consisting of interdependent and interacting parts or a set of units with relationships among them. Bertalanffy opines that any section of the universe that we perceive can be described as a system. In the case of an individual, she or he may be a psychological or biological or physical system or an element in the system. As I said before, a system is made up of elements. It is represented by the elements or subsystems. In other words, the subsystems or elements together form the structure of the system. In the coming two slides, we are going to see the explanation of few concepts involved in this theoretical framework. First of all, let us try to see what an open system is. A system, for its progress, has to be in touch with other systems. To ensure the continuity and changes, it has to engage in inter-exchanges with the environment. Now, how does this open system work? The open system receives inputs from the environment and produces output to the environment. Outputs of the client system largely depends on the inputs from the environment system. The input reaches into the system through the boundaries and outputs depart through boundaries. The second concept going to be clarified here is the closed system. The closed system do not interact with other systems. They neither takes inputs nor produces outputs. Over a period of time, the systems will end up in the loss of organization and function. The next concept that is going to be explained is the boundaries. Boundary can be defined as a closed circle around the variables. There is less interchange or communication across the circle. In the case of open systems, the boundary is semi-permeable and flexible. Environment. Environment is it is a system. The system is inside the boundary while the environment is outside the boundary, but there is interaction between them. Now, what is feedback? There are cases when the output of the system does not match the demands of the environment. In such cases, the feedback may help the system to correct itself. If the feedback to the individual from the environment is positive, then her or his coping capacities will be enhanced. If the feedback is negative, the ability to cope would be diminished and would increase behaviors that elicit negative behaviors. In a system, all the interrelated parts work together to achieve a common goal. When there are interactions between the elements, the system is said to be functioning well. When all the elements are in exchange and bounded, a system is said to be functioning well. Now let's see how this applies in social work. In social work, this theoretical framework can make a difference in perceiving, analyzing, and acting. General systems theory is very much relevant in social casework as the human behavior is the intersection of influences of multiple interrelated systems. It describes the various parts or factors or variables that are relevant to a phenomenon and how these parts are related to one another. In the traditional view, the social casework was always looked at as a face-to-face relationship, but now it is not so. The relationship between the person and her or his environment is very much stressed. Two system frameworks are used in social work practice. They are Pincus and Minahan's model and the person in environment theory. According to Pincus and Minahan, there are four systems and there are transactions within these. PIE or person in environment theory holds that a person's development is influenced by everything in the surrounding environment and social interactions within it. There are four types of social systems according to Pincus and Minahan. They are the following: the client system, the target system, the action system, the change agent system, the professional system, and the problem identification system. These systems are developed on the basis of the people with whom the worker interacts. First, let us try to see what a client system is. An individual is said to be um, in the client system when she or he has either asked or accepted workers' services. In other words, there should be an explicit or implicit contract between the client and the worker. There are situations where clients voluntarily approach the worker. There are also occasions when the worker approaches the clients. The people who are identified as targets of workers' efforts are considered as potential clients until an agreement is made between them. Second notion we are going to see here is the change agent system. The social workers are the people who are primarily considered as belonging to the change agent system. Secondly, the organizations or agencies that employ them also belong to the change agent system. Thirdly, we are going to see here the target system. They are the people whom the change agent system attempts to change or influence in order to help them to attain their goals. The fourth notion that needs to be clarified is the action system. The term action system is used to describe those with whom the social worker interacts in a cooperative way to produce changes. Another important concept here is the professional system. The professional system would mean the professional association of social workers, the educational curriculum by which the social workers are framed the values and sanctions of a professional practice. The problem identification system, it is a system that brings a potential client to the attention of the worker. Now we are going to see the person in environment approach. This approach is the concept that people can be heavily influenced by their environment. It highlights the importance of understanding an individual and their behavior through their environment. A person's environment, along with their experiences, will help shape the way they view the world, how they think, and why they respond the way they do. We will first start with the micro, meso, and macro approach. This is simply looking at levels within a person's system, which will help give you some direction in what supports may be needed. The micro level represents individual needs and involves direct interactions with the clients, which is the most common type of social work. This level explores aspects related to biology, psychological needs, social and interpersonal relationships, or supports and spiritual beliefs. The meso level represents connections or interactions with small groups such as family, schools, churches, neighborhoods, community organizations, and peers or co-workers. The macro level represents connections to systemic issues within large systems such as law or legislation, policy, healthcare systems, and international associations. This level also explores ethical frameworks, the historical impacts of group experiences, and how discrimination and prejudice can impact marginalized populations. Let us now we are going to see a case study by using a PIE approach, person in environment approach. Our client, Miss X, is married with 4 children and 2 of them are under 5. Every month she goes to a psychiatric clinic and gets treated for depression. Her husband is an unskilled worker who works hard despite the fairly high unemployment rate in the area. The family income is very much minimal, that they can cover only the basic needs. The family never had a holiday and has no connections with any organizations or groups in the neighborhood. There is no visiting family within the visiting distance. The situation of the other families in the neighborhood are much more worse. Housing is very poor with not even bathrooms. There is lack of play space, no common areas of recreation. Interactions among the residents is very much minimal. The 2 children of Miss X under under 5 are irritable, disobedient, and destructive. When Mr. X is there, then the situation would be very much different. Though Mr. X is a reliable man and had a good relationship with his wife, now their relationship has deteriorated. Quarrels occur much frequently. In the case of Miss X, she has been under treatment for the past 6 months. Prior to this, she was completely all right. She was liked by all, managed house well, etc. Here, the social worker has to consider the following. In this case, there are various systems at play. Miss X, Mr. X, family, school, residents, local administration, the neighborhood, etc. Miss X depression stems from intra and interpersonal conflicts and inadequacies. The family of Miss X has no relations or interactions with others, which make them isolated and affects their psychosocial health. Thus, community or the environment also becomes the focus of social work. This is an example of a PIE approach. Now we are going to see a case in the light of a social systems approach. Here, a woman, she's a client system. She approaches the social worker, who is a change agent system, with the problem that her alcoholic husband, who is a target system, beats her up daily. Social worker, as part of intervention, may counsel the husband and get him rehabilitated with the help of de-addiction center. Here, all those persons, doctors, NGO officials, staff at the center who took part in the rehabilitation process would be the action system. The change agent may like to study the gravity and extent of problem of alcoholism in the community, may take up a research study intending to find the root cause of the problem with the alcoholism only as a behavioral manifestation. She or he may find that underemployment and unemployment among youth and adults, poor economic condition, and easy availability of liquor coupled with cultural consent to males for alcoholism is the prime cause behind the rampant problem, which is affecting the health status of, to say, 80% of youth in the community. The intervention by change agent may include working at various levels, state to ensure income generating programs, shop selling alcohol in the community to be banned, creating awareness about harmful effects of alcoholism, knowledge creation about prevention of domestic violence act, etc. In this case, the target system would be the state reluctance on programs, red tapeism, corruption, um, shops selling alcohol, and all alcoholics in the community, and all the people believing that alcoholism is associated with masculinity and it is right on the part of men to drink. The action system would be everybody taking part in the process of intervention. Researchers doing the study, media propagating messages about anti-alcoholism, integrated approach to social work and social action, domestic violence, NGO functionaries, field workers, and so on. So we understand that client system would be any person approaching change agent with a problem. Action system would be persons participating in the process of intervention, and target system would be those persons who need to alter their behaviors and attitudes so that an egalitarian and just social system would be created. Further, you may realize that one problem situation may call for many action systems, as reflected in the above example. Depending upon the situation, an action system could be an existing system already in operation. For example, family, prayer groups, schools, etc. Or a new system developed by the change agent as part of intervention. For example, opening self-help group of terminally ill patients, etc. The change agent may not be directly interacting with all the people in an action system, but may have indirect contact at various points in the time span of intervention. Say, first researchers, then NGO workers involved in rehabilitation of alcoholic clients, then media persons, and so on. The change agent may require their services only once or regularly. These services may be paid or unpaid. Next, change agent status, career aspirations, job security, promotion, value system, conviction to the ethics and principles of social work profession, knowledge level, ability to mobilize, convince people, enthusiasm, creativity, all would have a bearing on the intervention. Added to this, the change agent may also attempt to enlarge action system by involving other members of a large system. For example, elected leaders, policy makers, coalition of NGOs, freelancers, media persons, etc. Or she or he may reduce the client system, for example, work with alcoholic and his family, working with the neighborhood, and then reduce some members. So this is a just we were seeing a case on social systems approach. Okay. Here we see certain characteristic features when the general systems theory is applied to the social work practice. The theory takes a broad view and it sees not just the phenomenon or problem, but everything related to the issues. The focus on the theory is on transactions between the various systems. As per the theory, individuals are able to initiate behaviors, contribute, and alter their behavior. A lot of importance is given to feedback system. When there is proper feedback, the client makes progress. When an open system requires interaction with other systems for progressive development, the social worker has to make sure that this is provided. A special concern of the social worker is needed when the system is heading towards isolation. And now these are the references, and thank you.